everything in the sausage, on the ribs, and what I do to the briskets, you could have made it in 1886.
Hey, this is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's awesome. It's with Chef Travis from Mum Foods in Austin, Texas. It's a good one. Enjoy. Good afternoon, Travis. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Doing good.
Yeah, I'm glad we got this keyed in at the right time. I don't think I know a lot about your background. Are you from Texas?
Born and raised in Austin, Texas.
What did you think your path was?
To barbecue?
Or just in general? When did barbecue get into your blood, and like how did this happen? Like, were you on your path for something else and then this happened, or?
I mean, the whole barbecue journey, it was just a random thing that my dad always did the barbecue for the, holidays.
Hmm.
And, I got nothing of it. And when I was graduating, I was going into paramedic school.
Okay.
But I mean, somewhere in the spring of my senior year, I was like, you know what? Like, my dad's not going to be here forever. Someone has to carry on this barbecue, holiday stuff. So I decided, I was like, well, you know what? I might as well learn it, see what happens. So I just jumped right into it on every holiday after that to learn.
Did he have an offset, or was it something like a direct heat?
No, no, we always just use I guess they don't make them anymore, the HEB barrels
Uh-huh.
that don't even have a firebox. It's just a big barrel that you just take out the grate. We had the one where you can take out the grates on one side, and then you can just put the wood on one side, and you can put the brisket on the other side in the meats. So it's kind of offset a little bit.
Yeah. Was your dad helping you kind of like, were you learning kind of your dad's techniques, or were you?
I mean, my dad was doing straightforward, just hopefully it comes out good. So, and then this was 2009. This was way before anything came out. So I kind of just, jumped right in and just learned it myself, techniques myself.
Well,
And then,
2009 is kind of the Aaron Franklin. That's when
yeah,
I think that's his big.
yeah. So for a quick moment, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just graduate and become the best barbecue joint in Austin. And then, sure enough, that December, this guy named Manor Franklin comes along. So I was
Yeah,
like,
he took it away from you.
yeah, no, it's fine. But I was going to paramedic school, so it wasn't at the time wasn't a big deal. But you know, I kept doing it since then, no matter what. So I mean,
You think you could have been like, were you able to deal with because being a paramedic, it's a stressful job. It's a high stakes, high stress kind of situation.
yeah, yeah. I when I got into that, I guess I didn't realize how stressful it could be. When I first got my first job, let's just say the first week, I had like the worst calls you can think of. And yeah, it was not
Tragic
fun.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of deaths that you couldn't even try to save. So it was,
That's a, no, that's God love them. It's a
yeah,
certain type of job, and to like everyone could go in, like you could possibly go into it, but to be able to do it for the long haul and to really, they're saving lives and they're seeing stuff. I was thinking about CHPs the other day too, how like you go on because you want to be a CHP, not thinking maybe you're to come upon terrible car accidents, and yeah, the
yeah,
vehicles do amazing things to people.
yeah. So, I mean, but also, while, because I was stationed at a firehouse, so it was nice because, when you don't have a call, everyone just eats inside the firehouse. So,
That's true.
you know, so the whole time, they barbecue all the time. So, I mean, I practiced there, practiced at the house, and then after I was like, I think it was like a year, something around there, I was like, I just can't do this anymore. Maybe this was wrong for me.
Mhm.
So I jumped out, and then I thought about going into the barbecue scene like from there on, but it's like still too little, still too unknown, no money in it, and I don't even know how to even start yet. So I went into the cooking world of fine dining from
Oh,
then on. Yeah, I went to cooking school and stuff, so I took that route for a while.
did you go to
And
cooking school in Austin?
yeah, I went to
Yeah.
cooking school in Austin. And then when that boom happened in 2012, I was like, oh, okay, this is some serious stuff. And then from then on, I just like went not all in, but any spare time. From then on, I did a brisket at least once a week. So 52 briskets a year from then on.
Did you upgrade to a different smoker too?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess at that time there still wasn't the greatest smokers in the world, but I mean, I had this New Braunfels smoker that was still to this day is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I love that. It was like a medium size. I can't even tell you what model it is, but
No, but a
it
lot
was
of
good.
people have had those.
Yeah, it was nice. The draw was good. I mean, the firebox was good. It kept a good fire. It was perfect. It
Oh, cool.
helped me a lot.
What made you take the next step? And were you going to places too to test out and see what kind of food they had?
So I didn't really go to barbecue joints. I mean, I grew up. My dad always took us to Cooper's, so I grew up going to out there in Lano all the time.
Hmm.
And then so I never went to Lockhart. I don't know what that experience was like, even though it was right down the street from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I only knew like direct coals cooking, and then my dad did hot and fast. Like it was under 6 hours, you're ready to eat barbecue on the table.
Wow.
So that's the two methods I knew only, the styles. So I did that, the hot and fast style, for those first 3 4 years learning. That's all I did. And then when all that new school stuff happened, I was like, okay, let's try this, 12-hour cooks, 6 hour rib cooks type thing.
Hmm.
So I got a little serious into that more. And then it wasn't no barbecue joint that inspired it. I just was really wanting to learn.
Wow.
So jump to 2015, my cooking career was going up pretty well. I was getting up there, but I felt like I really wanted to get into barbecue. And then sure enough, Valentina's just moved right down the street from where I was living at the time in South Austin.
Hmm.
So it was literally walking distance. So
Perfect.
I just walked over one day and I just said, "Hey Miguel, you hiring? You need a overnight cook? Anything?" And then he's like, "Not really." And so I was like, "Well, let me know." And then I got a call a few days later, and he's like, "You still interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So I had a full-time cooking job, and then I did Valentina's overnight. I was the overnight cook.
So were you working in like a fine dining kitchen and doing
Yeah,
this? Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. I was pulling 10 hours at the restaurant, and I was pulling 6 to 7 hours at Valentina's. Yeah,
How are
yeah,
you feeling?
yeah. I mean, thank God I was young at the time.
Yeah.
So let's just say that.
If you're young, you could do that. Yes.
No, it was good. I mean, Valentina's at the time, I loved that barbecue. I mean, it was great. It was great working there.
How was that experience? You were cooking with mesquite, right? Don't they cook with mesquite? Yeah.
Yeah, so I never really cooked with mesquite at that point, so I didn't really know what I was getting into. But I mean, I knew fire management and everything at that point. It was more of like, can I do bulk barbecue? It didn't take long for me to adjust into it, but I mean, it definitely made me a believer. And I don't know why people hate mesquite wood so much.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
don't.
why either. I've always wondered that.
It's great.
Yeah.
Just do it right, and you'll have great barbecue every time.
Yeah. I think Pinkertons is a blend. I think a lot of people do blends too.
I mean, it was great. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of techniques to bulk barbecue, which I needed to learn. And it was a good opportunity I had there.
They were doing a good
But
volume then, right?
yeah, I mean, they were already in the 24 hours, keep going, no sell out. Let's just keep one brisket off, one brisket on type thing.
Wow.
So it was like constantly restocking the pit. That pit never stopped. So
Were you learning how to trim there too?
yes, I did do some trimmings sometimes during the second cook. and then I did, pull offs as well of the meats. So I did everything. I did the tortilla making as well
Oh,
and
cool.
stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, it was a good experience for sure.
And then was there a certain point where you felt like you'd learned enough and then you wanted to move somewhere else, or was that a goal all along to kind of go to some different places?
No, unfortunately, a family thing came up, and I
Oh,
had to leave town. And at that point, the two jobs was taking a toll on me. So it was kind of like, oh man, I can't take two jobs right now. So I was like, I might as well, drop the Valentina's for the moment,
mhm.
you know, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
that's how I left.
Okay.
It's not because I wanted to, but I needed to.
Gotcha.
After that, I kept barbecuing every week after that. So
Yeah.
I kept doing it forever. 2017, I got opportunities to be run, fine dining at places around Austin, and I did that for a whole year. You know, most notably now closed as well, Salt and Thyme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was over there running the kitchens over there. I was in charge of this, not in charge. I was co sausage person over there. I helped the main sausage person there. So I learned the sausages over there. Did the
So
fermentation
that's
sausages.
gotcha.
Yeah, that's where I got like deep into sausage. And then I guess I just missed barbecue so much that I said, I'm gonna dedicate a whole year and just go all in on barbecue because I needed a break from the fine dining place. So just magically I saw Leroy and Lewis was hiring, and I guess they were expanding, and I was one of the hires for their big hire, operation.
Yeah.
So I landed that job. It was great. I loved it so much that I decided to get another job, and I just pestered Tom. I went over to Micklethwait and I just pestered him every day, and I said, "Tom, you need a person on Monday or Tuesday." And then I guess I stopped after a while, and I said, "Okay, I guess because I really wanted a top 10 barbecue joint job, and
Yeah.
at that time I think there were seven or
Hmm.
eight.
Something like that. Yeah.
Um, so I was like, man, I need to get a top 10 barbecue joint, what it's like. So, and then a week later, he just messaged me again and was like, you know what? You want that Monday, Tuesday job? It's yours. So I was like, oh, yes. So that was like the big thing. Like I got two barbecue joints to work at
And two
7 days a
really
week.
interesting and really
Yeah,
interesting and cutting edge.
exactly.
Yeah.
I did that for a full year.
What was it like?
I started right when Bradley Robinson did the direct heat pit.
Okay.
So that was one of the reasons that intrigued me to work there. It was like, oh man, I've been wanting to learn how to cook on that forever. So this was like my entryway to
Yeah.
force myself to learn. I mean, it was nice. It was different not having to do brisket every day. So it was nice. The cooks were a lot shorter.
Were they doing half hogs on that too, or?
I know when I first got there, I don't think they did the whole hog just quite yet. I
Mhm.
believe they did the quails, the
Gotcha.
mac and cheese stuffed quails. That
Whoa.
Yeah, I guess there was more of a event thing at that point, but they eventually went to the whole hog.
Okay.
So that was cool to learn. It's cool
Hmm.
to see the process.
So were you
So
there? Was Cole there yet, or was it just you and Bradley and?
no, it was me, and they hired another person. Matt was the other cook at that
Okay.
time, and then obviously Brad was there sometimes. It was a good time. It was fun doing. We did porchettas there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the rolled porchettas. Those were fun.
Every time I see that, I'm just like anybody doing porchetta. I watch that thing
Yeah,
like on TV, someone doing it in Portland. I'm like, oh, it looks so good, so good.
and it was fun working. It was fun working there. It was good seeing beef cheeks on the
Yeah,
menu.
working at Micklethwait, you because I we had talked off camera. You were there when Lane was there. You were there when Haley was there, who was working at Barb's for a while.
Yeah, yeah, they were both there. Lane was obviously the morning cook, the main guy there, running the show, making sure I do my job, telling me what I need to do better on. But no, I just did 2 days there. I was
Yeah,
just a night cook. I made the sausage. I trimmed and seasoned ribs and pulled off briskets, pretty much. And it was good. I enjoyed that. You're literally by yourself on a food truck at night, and no one's there. You can just no one there to bug you.
Mhm.
So
I think
it
I've
was
heard that experience for people.
it was good to work with Lane.
Yeah, that's cool. Then where did you go on from there? Were you planning, like, what was your idea? Like, was all this kind of in your mind thinking I'm gonna have my own place someday, or what was?
I mean, there was always a chance that I wanted to, but it was just like, do I want to do barbecue the rest of my life? Like that's what that year was about.
Mhm.
And I mean, the answer was yes, but so after that, I dedicated that whole year to barbecue, and then I wanted to travel around the world
Oh,
after that. So and see what I wanted to do after I came back. So I left both places after that, and I traveled for like 4 months.
really? Where'd you go?
I just I landed in England, and I just jumped a plane to the next country until I did a whole 360.
Really?
Yeah,
Did you get to go to Asia too?
yeah. I went to Asia. I went all
Oh,
around Asia, Southeast Asia.
that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you brought anything back with you, like food wise or experience wise?
No, I did eat at a lot of Michelin star restaurants while I was around the country, the world, but no, I know barbecue. I mean, I ate a couple of barbecue places in Germany. That was pretty fun. There's some fun places over there.
But at least you like, I think it opens travel always opens your eyes. So you got a chance to experience a lot of different foods. And then
Yeah.
when you come back here, like because you've experienced those foods, if you went to a restaurant that was eclectic and they had something, you would know it probably more than most would know it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of went the other way. I got inspired and I went back to fine dining when I got back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then because I helped a person open up a place. And so I decided to help him. And then 6 months later, after that, that's when the pandemic hit. So,
Oh,
yeah. So that kind of ruined everything. It was at that point, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing because everybody got, lost their job for a while.
yeah. And it's especially the food service industry.
Yeah. So at that point, I went back into barbecuing after that, and I made a brick pit, a cylinder pit at my house for direct heat. So for the next year and a half, I just did direct heat barbecue at least 3, 4 times a week because everybody that was buying food, they didn't want the ribs or the briskets. So I just bought those up all the time and just barbecued
What were
every
you
day.
doing with that food? Were you giving it away to friends or were?
Yeah. So I mean, there was people that obviously people didn't want to go buy food during the pandemic.
Hmm.
They rather like get it delivered or dropped off or made for them.
Hmm.
So I did the whole anybody need barbecue hit me up thing.
Ah,
So I mean, I got a lot of people, so it was good.
were you making was that like a little business for you?
No,
Oh,
I wish I should have turned it into one, but
you could have, but it's like it
yeah.
takes a lot, yeah. But that's how a lot
So
of people started too. Like there's people that started during the pandemic by just selling barbecue that now they have a restaurant.
I did that, and then just you know I said, well, let's give this barbecue thing one more time, one more try. So I noticed on Instagram one day that Lambert's they uh, they got a new mill scale offset pit there, and as far as I knew, they never had an offset. It was just a rotisserie.
I think so.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I bet no one's ever used it over there. Then so like why not be the first pitmaster at Lambert's? That use the
Mhm.
offset.
Yeah.
So I hit them up and I bugged I bugged them every day, and then it took about a month, and they said, you know what, we're getting busy enough to where you know let's get this barbecue thing a try on the offset. And I pitched it to them. I was like, I can turn the whole barbecue program around, make it a real barbecue joint. And they said, let's go for it. So in a way, I am kind of the first,
That's that's
you
awesome.
know, real pitmaster at Lambert's, I guess.
So because a lot of people don't know about Lambert's. Can you explain what it is? Because it's a different type of restaurant than a standard barbecue joint.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I it's a it's an upscale Tex-Mex barbecue joint. I would say it's Tex-Mex. people would say probably not. Just I mean, they market themselves as fancy barbecue,
Yeah.
but it's just a really good Tex-Mex joint
Mm.
with some barbecue in it. So no, and then so I decided to do that, and I had to slowly change everything little by little, and right when I got it to where I liked it and everything was running, I changed the sausage, I changed the way we cooked the ribs, I changed the brisket, the trimming, everything. And then I was like, you know what? I think we're gonna be in time for the 2021 list for the top 50. And then I, uh, I, I, uh, I asked around. I was like, hey, did they do the list already? And let's just say I was too late for that list. So
Ah.
yeah, it was. I was very very sad at that point
No, I
because
can imagine.
yeah, it was good though. I had that place running really nicely. I was
And that's
pulling like
probably a good feeling too.
yeah, I was pulling like 18 hours,
Ah,
18 hours, 6 days a week.
it's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, because it was one of those jobs where it's like if you want to take on the task, you gotta own up.
Yeah. Mhm.
Responsibilities all yours. So I had to make sure everything was perfect as possible.
So that was like, when did you leave there? About a year ago or a year and a half ago? Or-
I left. I left there at the beginning of 2022, and then that's when I went to Smoke and Beauty. I left there because let's just say they wanted to go back to their old ways, and I refused.
yeah,
So
I could see that.
unfortunate. Yeah, I went to Smoke and Beauty. Same thing. I asked them. I was like, "Hey, man, you have two offsets. You want to get your barbecue program up and running?" He said, "Yeah, let's do this. I've been wanting to do this, since we opened." So I was excited. I love Vietnamese food. Vietnam, when I traveled, was my favorite place. So
And it works great with barbecue because
yeah, it was great.
the produce and
And
yeah.
yeah, it was great. So I got that place going really nicely, and it was fun. I mean, it was fun working with those flavors all the time. I was working on some cool stuff there, but I realized that everyone's end goal is not the same as yours.
Yeah, that happens.
So I was I didn't like where they wanted to go, and so I left there too.
So how did Mums pop up? How did that happen?
Yeah, so after Smoking Beauty, man, I told myself, well, this is just not working or something, man. I can't find a place. And, I kind of just laid low for about 6 months. Sure enough, I just saw this thing that says Mum Foods hiring Pitmaster cook. I was like, you know what? I had them a couple of times at the farmer's market. Daniel Vaughn said it's the best pastrami in the country,
Yes.
So it's like they got something going. I hit up Jeff, the owner, and I told him I was like, hey, I'd love to come work over there, and we started talking, and he's like, you know what, I'm about to open a restaurant. I'm finally getting a brick and mortar for this place. We're gonna do old school Jewish deli, and I want, you know, the best Central Texas barbecue joined with it at the same time, and I needed someone to run that side of the operations. So I was like, that's exactly what I was
Yeah.
looking for. Yeah,
The concept is just awesome. Okay, go on.
yeah, no, and then so I was super excited. So I was very fortunate. I got I think it was like 5 months to prep before the restaurant opened. So I got down the sausages, I got down the ribs. Actually, the ribs that we do here, it was a long process.
I definitely
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
talk about that. Yeah.
yeah. We'll talk about it. There was a lot of variations that I had to go through to get to where we were now. But yeah, when we opened, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do modern, style of like Lockhart. I was going to do the best Lockhart barbecue, but like, craft style,
Mhm.
you know. So that's what we went first when we opened. So I think we kind of messed up there because, we weren't sure where we wanted the barbecue to be at, but it was good, but you know, it's not what we wanted, I guess. So it took us a sec. Yeah, now we're here to Mum Foods, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do what I always wanted to do in a barbecue joint. Like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the brisket, ribs, and sausage if it was my own joint. I was like, that's the only way it's going to be good. That's the only way it's going to be happy with the result. I never grew up with super peppery brisket. My dad didn't put a lot of pepper. Cooper's doesn't put that much pepper on theirs.
That's true.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
you know, I did always love Louis Miller's when I finally got out there. I was like, you know what, this is like
It's different.
this. Yeah, it's different.
It's good.
It's great, and I was fortunate to have it before Bobby passed away. So I actually
Oh, you
had his
did?
barbecue. Yes. So I was very fortunate. I can't remember. It was like 2005 or six, somewhere around there. My dad's like, you know what? I'm gonna take you to an old school barbecue joint. And I was like,
Ah,
okay. So I got to experience his hot and fast. So they did hot and fast, like real hot and
yeah,
fast.
yeah. Oh, and
You
Lance,
know,
Lance Kirkpatrick was there probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I fell in love with it because it's just like my dad's, but it's more pepper. So I was like, oh, I like both ways, both perfectly fine. So I love the bark. The bark was
It's
fantastic.
it's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I love working out Leroy and Lewis, heavy bark, Mickleweight, heavy bark. It just I grown to love the pepper
Yeah.
so much that I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a nice peppery brisket. I'm gonna use the most pepper of any barbecue joint on a brisket in the state. So, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but I pack these briskets with as much pepper as I can. So, I mean, and that was a challenge to make sure it sticks to the brisket, forms a nice bark, good flavor and everything, mellows out, and then that's what I decided to do. When I came here, we got these two pits, the Bison Smokers.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we have Bison Smokers, and I've realized over the years that all the barbecue joints I worked at, every pit was so different, and it was such an adjustment period. I was just like, I hate not hate, but it's frustrating.
Learning curve, right?
Learning curve on every single pit you get.
Mhm.
So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go with, I want to say the ultimate barbecue technique, but it's, you know, the chimney stack wide open, the firebox not completely open, but it's just one of those, like, get full convection and try your best to get the color and the smoke flavor that you need. So now you can do this technique on any pit you want, because you just all you need to do now is just adjust the door for how much airflow, but the stack is wide open. So no, like, half chimney, three-fourths closed, trying to find that sweet spot. It's like always open. How do I stack the wood? Where do I place the meat to get the color you want, to get the cook time you want, and to make it taste, the same every single time.
So you created, this is interesting. So you created a method for yourself that works, that translates to any pit you're using.
Oh yeah, I
Interesting. Okay.
tried it on. When I finally got it dialed in, I was like, you know what? Let's see if this actually works on every pit. And so I went and cooked on other people's pits, and I did the same thing. And
That's cool.
it's very hard because the wood placement and everything. When you start a fire to when you add more wood to when you finish, it's you have to learn what does a meat look like every hour of the cook. That's how you're on the right path. It took a while, but now I'm like, I don't have to worry about working on a different pit. It's going to be consistent, or you can have this barbecue on any pit in the country.
Wow. And you have guys have 2,000-gallon
Yeah, we have
basin?
two
Yeah.
1,000.
How would you describe Mum Foods? And then let's talk about the different proteins that you cook. And then so like, and also too, like, is Jeff doing the pastrami, and then are you cooking it? Like, how, let's talk about everything. I'm excited. I want to talk about the ribs and the sausage. Then you also do some like throwback nights or throwback weeks. I don't know,
Yeah,
to Lockhart. I know,
yeah.
I
So
don't
no, I mean, the owner Jeff, he doesn't do the pastrami. I do all the smoking and barbecue operations.
okay.
He's just he does the deli side, but I mean, he does. I use his brine, I guess you
Okay.
could say. So his method of brining and how he wants it. I've kind of tweaked, like the coarseness of the rub and the how much smoke and color on the pits. He's kind of trusted me with that, to
Mhm.
carry that on. He doesn't really do on the barbecue side. I'm 100%
Okay,
in
so
charge
that's
of
your
all the barbecue at Mum Foods is, you know, seen and touched by me.
that's cool. It's one thing that not everyone does is you inject the pastrami, right? Isn't that something that
Yeah, yeah. So I guess he found out that a shorter brining makes all the difference in the world. Like no 30-day pastrami brine in the walk-in or something. It's like we do 7 days
hmm,
and then it's ready to go. So we inject it and then put it and submerge it in the brine, and it comes out great. Because I was curious too, and I tried pastrami all over, and I was like, you know what? It really does change the texture too much
interesting?
when you go past 10, 14 days. So,
I need to do a pastrami run, just like
yeah.
across the nation. That would be fun. That would be my like. You're going to travel the world. I'll travel the United States as trying pastrami, but my like it'd be so salty, but I'd be in trouble by the end. But no. So then I've never asked anybody this either. Is it like cooking a pastrami versus just cooking a brisket? Is time wise, is it essentially the same, or is it because it's been brined, it's quicker or different?
Pastrami does take longer than
Okay,
briskets because it's injected with so much water. I
okay,
mean, the objective is get all that water out. It takes
that makes
forever.
sense. Okay.
But what we do here, and I don't know if any barbecue joint does it yet, but we cut the pastrami briskets in half.
Hmm.
So we have the point side half and we have the lean side half.
Hmm.
So I mean, they cook together, but they get taken off at different times. And then famously, you can never really tell when a pastrami's done. You can't just feel it or temp it.
Oh, you can.
No. So it's you know I won't say how I figured it out, but I will say
You have
that
a method, right?
yeah, there's definitely a method for
Cool.
sure.
That's cool. No,
Um,
don't tell me.
yeah,
They can come work for you if they want to learn.
yeah. No, but it was definitely different, because a completely cooked pastrami feels like a stiff brisket.
Interesting.
So and it can just melt in your mouth, and you're like, how did that happen?
And
When you
it
cut
took
it.
a lot of trial and error. So
Yeah,
it's important that you have it's almost like a trade secret because it taken like hours, I'm sure, to figure that out, like
yeah.
by sight and by feel and by everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he had his method, and he told me, and then I just build off of that until I
Yeah.
got it right.
So
So
is that something then pastrami is available every day with you guys?
yeah, pastrami is available every day. All the meats are available every day except for brisket. That's on Wednesdays. It's not available.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to come in the 6th day and do a brisket cook for the
Yeah.
next day. So because we cut the pastrami's in half, so I finished the pastrami's on Wednesday before service. Yeah, so they don't take as long as a normal brisket.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Because you've cut them in half.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I don't think anybody does that. Like you said that, but I don't think I've ever heard. But I wonder too, like when people are steaming it, that's like a place like Cats and those places. But I think I don't think they cut them in half when they steam them. Maybe they, I don't know. Okay, so let's talk about all your different proteins that you offer. And what are these, like from when you were talking to Jeff, did he already have his concept kind of in mind, or did you get a chance to kind of give your feedback and brainstorm?
I mean, he did barbecue at the farmers market, so he had his own like style already in place.
Mhm.
But that was blessed. That I found Jeff because he was completely open to what let's
Cool.
if you got something better, you got better ideas, like let's run with it. Let's see
Oh,
how
that's
far we
great.
can take this.
Cool.
So I went full all in. So I mean I did scratch all that he did, but I did it in what he wanted. He wanted true Central Texas. So I decided, well, I'm from Austin, Texas. I can do it.
Yeah.
So so the mission that I set out was, something that I guess people don't realize is that everything in the sausage, on the ribs, and what I do to the briskets, you could have made it in 1886.
Really.
So everything was available that I do in the 1800s. So I know that sounds a little weird, but yeah, it's definitely. I looked into it. And I was like, okay.
Well, isn't that
So
isn't not South Side? Were
Yeah.
they
So
1886?
yeah, so technically everyone thinks of Texas barbecue hit its thing at 1886. So I just use that date as a reference, you know.
That's why the number's in my head. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Southside was making that sausage in 1886
Yeah.
or, you know, a version of it. You
Yeah.
can make my sausage in 1886 as well.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you don't
Yeah.
need, there's nothing from the future that you would need. It's all from the past.
Nope.
That's,
And then apparently even foil was available back then. So
huh.
a form of foil, I guess.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the same brand,
Yeah, exactly.
which is fine. So what sets your ribs apart? And then you kind of explain what sets your sausage apart, but do you have multiple different sausages you make, or is it?
Yeah. So the one thing that the Jeff wanted the most was like, you know, my favorite sausage is jalapeno cheddar.
Mm.
We're having a jalapeno cheddar on the menu, and I was like, okay, I'll make the greatest jalapeno cheddar I can.
Okay.
So you know, I made that, and you know, everybody uses high temp cheese, you know, so the cheese doesn't go out. But I realized that I hated when the cheese didn't go out in your mouth when you bite into it. I was like,
Yeah,
that's the best part of sausage is just getting just splattered by the juices everywhere, you
I
know?
love that too.
Yeah. So I wasn't into that. So I decided to go real cheese, real mild cheese, cheddar cheese. And then I just finally got it down, and it's more simple than it looks, but it's fantastic. So and then you know, my beef sausage, I always loved sausage. It was on everything I ate growing up. That's my dad, you know, that's all he ate growing up, and that's all he fed me growing up. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna make the best beef sausage I possibly can. So I was on that quest, you know, and Luling, obviously, City Market, in you know, in Luling,
Yeah.
it's my favorite sausage, besides mine. But you know, I wanted not to duplicate it, but I wanted to match the same feeling when you bite into it. It's easy to eat. You can eat a lot of it,
Hmm.
but it satisfies you every single time
Yeah.
you bite into it. So you know, I live in Austin, you know, in the craft barbecue world where you want to put as much flavor. You know, I kind of call sausage right now like the competition of sausage. You know, every sausage you see nowadays in Texas is like competition style. Like, how much flavor can you pack in one sausage?
Hmm.
You know, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make the best easy eating sausage you can. You can eat 3 links and you'll be satisfied. You're not gonna get sick of it after that first link.
Gotcha. So it's not
So
something like as complex because yeah, because people are going pretty wacky with sausage in the
yeah,
best way,
exactly.
but they are
Yeah.
going, yeah.
So I did that, and I found it to where it took a while. Daniel's first visit, you know, he got that first version, you know, where he liked it a lot, but I uh, I switched it up a bit since then, and it's exactly where I want it. I think it's the best sausage I've ever had.
Oh,
So
nice.
I'm so happy with it. So
Oh,
it's a blessing for sure.
I can't wait. Didn't Daniel just come in like a couple days ago?
Yeah, he just came in, so and he got the beef sausage. So
Cool.
and nothing but good marks from him.
Yeah.
So that's a good sign. So
Well, and also too,
all
I've seen your sausage plated, and it just looks gorgeous, and it's with a little bit of cheese oozing out, and the beef sausage next to it just looks perfect. Yeah, they look, and they're little. They're you do them the kind of an homage to Central
oh
Oregon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I thought, you know what, you know, everyone does these really fat sausages, and I was like, you know what, no one ever does the horseshoe anymore,
Hmm.
like a modern horseshoe. You know, I don't tie it up with strings and put it on a a metal stick.
Stick or
You
something.
know,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, but it's still the same shape, and it comes out beautiful every time.
yeah.
So it worked out. So
I love
it's
those.
it's nice because now you know it's mum foods when you see a picture. If you
Yeah,
see a horseshoe sausage on it, you know, and it doesn't look
yeah.
like an old school barbecue tray, it's like, oh, has to be mum's.
That's
So
smart. That's really cool. No, that's great.
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
recognize it now too. Yeah,
yeah, so you know, there's a lot of things, you know, on the barbecue I do, it's like, oh, it's mine, from the sausage to the ribs to
To the
the
ribs,
brisket.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the ribs, it's this really long story how I got to the ribs.
Okay.
So I guess you can say I have a slight allergy to pork.
Hmm.
So I never ate pork growing up, or pork ribs when I went to barbecue joints. It was brisket, sausage, and chicken. Um, and then so I never cooked ribs. Obviously, when I worked at big joints, I cooked ribs for them, and they taught me what they did and how to pull it off. So I learned how to cook ribs, but I never liked it. It's so porky, and I never got tomato on pork ribs, like ketchup sauces or anything like that. They're big red ribs everybody loves. Um, and then I worked when I was working at Leroy and Lewis. Uh, Sometimes they did ribs, and then one time Tom, shout out to Tom. He was the pitmaster at Live Oak. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
yeah. So he decided he
God,
seasoned the
I forgot
ribs.
about Live Oak.
Yeah,
God, I went there so long
yeah.
ago. Okay. Well,
He seasoned the ribs just like the brisket, and it was packed with pepper. But the ribs we were getting were wild boar ribs, so they were small and no meat on it. It was kind of like a trial run
mm,
at that time. And then I tried one, and it looked like a good bark, but it was so peppery, and there's so little meat that it wasn't quite right.
yeah.
So I was like, huh, that would be pretty cool if someone could figure that out. And then I was like, well, I'll put that on the back burner for a later time. And then I went to 2M in San Antonio, and I ate his ribs. Uh, and Those were my favorite ribs still to this day. And I noticed that he gets a really dark rib, and then he glazes it at the end with it's not barbecue sauce or anything. So it was different. It was a little sweet, but it was super smoky, super dark. I love the color on it. I love the slight sweetness of it. And I was like, man, you know what? I bet you can, work with that style of that rib that he does, and you can transform it into, a better rib, I guess. So, I never did it. I never tried it at home at any time because, again, I just don't eat pork. And then when I came to Mum Foods, and he's like, you know what? Let's do. I want like when you eat this pork rib, I want you to know you're in Central Texas. And that's what Jeff was telling me, and he's like, okay. So I just thought about it, and then one day I was like, you know what? I I, I love the idea of the Leroy and Lewis ribs we did that one day, and I love the glaze style that 2M did. So I was like, you know what? Let's see if that works. So one day I seasoned it up really nicely, as nicely as I can, evenly as possible. I cooked it, and came out terrible. Yeah, it was so peppery and spicy, and the sauce was just all over the place. So this was like, and this is where that 5 months came into play before we opened. So had a lot of trial and error on that. And then one day, like I said, I did the method we do here on our smokers, on how we burn the wood and how we cook it, and then it fit perfectly with those ribs. I got the bark I wanted. It's super stout. It's even more stout than a brisket bark. And the glaze, I found out exactly how to get it right, and it's just the most glistening, most beautiful black rib you've ever seen.
They look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like it's I even said like I even think I saw a video of the guy David from Wilson's Barbecue.
Yeah, he came in one day,
Yeah,
and he after he was done, I knew who he was when he came in. I just let him eat, and then he came up to me after, and he's like, I love the ribs so much, and I'm gonna go home right now and try
I'm
to
trying
recreate it.
to.
So it was nice.
Yeah, yeah. But it just like
And
it wasn't as much his like what he created is what he showed from your ribs. And I'm like, oh, they just ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah, and the way he made it, I'm surprised it came out as good as it did in this video.
Yeah.
'Cause that's not even close how I do it, but I mean, it came out nice. It looked good.
Everyone
So
seemed to like him too.
yeah, so it was good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'll put a link to that below just because it talks about you guys and then David's a great
yeah,
guy. Yeah.
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 I mean, so yeah, though that pork rib, and it is one of the only ribs now I can eat because I guess that pepper and all that stuff it mutes out
Oh, it
the
must balance it
pork.
properly or does something.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So unfortunately, if you feel like a really porky rib, this is probably not the rib for you. But it's like a man cave, Central Texas
It
pepper rib.
it looks
So
awesome. It looks so good. That's
yes,
and they
it's
stand
great.
out and they do like their mum ribs. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly when I still to this day I haven't seen anybody anywhere in Texas do it. So I think I might the only person that does a pepper heavy rib like that.
If
So
I ever see it, I'll text it to you. I'll send it to
yeah.
you. But I have yet to see it. I look at a lot of
So
photos of barbecue places. So
yeah.
wow. Huh.
So that's what I'm saying. It's also nice. So now you know when you see a black rib on a tray,
Mhm.
it's Mum's. So so I'm hitting all the goals I wanted. I wanted every time you look at a Mum Foods tray, you know it's a Mum Foods tray.
Well, your turkey looks phenomenal too. Is there anything special you're doing with that, or is just that method that you're doing with the convection almost? Is that what's making the turkey, you think?
I guess so.
It looks
I
really good.
mean, yeah, but I mean, we have to keep it simple because we use it on the deli side. We thinly slice it for and sell it for sandwiches or make sandwiches or make turkey Reubens and stuff. So I
Oh,
can't
so
do too
does he
much.
take it? He puts it on the machine for those, and then for you,
Yes,
he slices. Okay,
yeah, yeah. So I can't do too much to the turkey
makes sense.
because we cut it hot for the sandwiches.
Mhm.
So I mean, which is fine. I mean, it's just another challenge for me to
Yeah.
get. So, but no, I think the only thing different that we do is, I guess, the only secret. I'll give it away. It's not that much of a secret. Instead of butter that everybody uses, I use, the leftover, pastrami fat. I
Ah,
rest the turkeys in pastrami fat.
not a lot of people have that, so it's not
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
secret, but like not everyone has
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So it's like super coriander and black pepper, like infused fat,
Cool.
beef fat, So
Hmm.
and that's what I rest the turkeys in, and that's why when everybody comes in, it's like, oh, this turkey tastes nothing like any other barbecue joint. So
That's part of the reason.
yeah, part of the reason.
Mhm.
So it's nice. It was a good change by accident into a good thing.
Yeah. Well, do you do any other proteins as specials? And then also, uh, I wanted to say shout out to Javier at Chief Firewood because you guys use his firewood, right?
Yeah, we cheap firewood post oak. Yeah, I mean,
Why?
I can't, I
Why?
can't, I can't imagine anyone using any other
Mhm.
firewood than that guy. That guy, best whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
And customer service wise, from
yes,
what I've heard, it's just and everyone's kind of proud to use him too.
yes,
Yeah.
great guy. Always there when you need him. The wood is great. I mean, it's perfect every time.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it.
Yeah. Well, he's filmed some stuff. We're doing a project with his yard, and it's really impressive what he has with the guys, him and his dad out there. Yeah, it's pretty
No,
cool.
yeah,
I just love, and I'm also like I'm a fiend for wood yards. I love how people stack wood. I love the way it looks. I think it's gorgeous. I think it's
yeah.
an
I think,
art unto itself.
yeah, I think I saw the other day. I think Smitty's is using cheap firewood all of a
I
sudden.
saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
was
was
like, oh,
actually
that's
kind of like
interesting.
it was good and bad because I love the way Smitty's sets up. Like it's when I was in Texas, I went there and it was like mind blowing to see because it's just you just don't see something like that. Their yard is just, but yeah, yeah, it makes sense they'd use them too.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll have like a blend of like their own stacks as well as his stacks, but it'll be from his wood eventually, I think. Probably. I
Yeah,
don't know.
for
I don't
sure.
know. But yeah, I did notice that too. It's funny how we're all looking at the same stuff. It
Yeah,
kind of essentially.
I watch everything, so
Yeah.
I'm full into the barbecue scene for
Hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
But
That's funny. I did like for a while. I'm like, does everybody get that on their like feed all the barbecue? And then like, no, it's because it tailors it to us. Yes. Go on.
mhm.
So do you guys do
No,
other proteins sometimes?
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I try to do other sausages. I used to do a lot of different sausages when we first opened, but I mean, uh, even though it was fun and stuff, I mean, this place really is a Jewish deli first, so
Mhm.
everybody just wants a nice traditional barbecue and or the traditional Jewish deli. So the sausages have been a challenge for sure. But we got a beer wurst on the menu now, officially
Oh.
staying on. It's we just call it bologna here, but it's a beer wurst. It's a
Hmm.
German beer wurst. Uh, I it's one of the best sausages I've made ever. So it's two different textures, into a bologna casing, and right now I just smoke it once, and then we grill it on the flat top and make a sandwich, or you can eat it by the slice. But we found out that if you cut it and then you put it back on the smoker and just single slices and double smoke it like that,
Oh.
you get this intensely sticky glaze form on top of it. The way I guess I make it, so it looks it's glistening and sticky and gooey and fatty, and so that might go on the menu in a little bit.
Sounds
So
good.
I'm excited. I gave that to Daniel when he came in the other day. So
Oh, cool. Okay.
so
I'll have to go back through. Did he show photos of it?
yeah, it was in his photo for
Mm,
sure.
okay. I'll look back.
But
That's
uh,
cool.
but yeah, no, we don't do too much other than just the sausages. We do the beef ribs for special occasions like Father's Day or something, and we did do lamb ribs for a while, a lot, because everybody was doing lamb ribs, and I was like, well, I don't want to be like everybody else, but I wanted to try the lamb ribs and see how it would go over here. So it went well, but I was like, yeah, it's not us though, so it didn't take. But
Do you guys ever do corned beef?
yeah, we have corned beef.
You
Yep,
do? So
yep.
do you have to smoke it or is that steamed?
No, it's steamed.
Steamed. Okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, most people don't know that the food editor of Austin, he says our corned beef sandwiches is the best sandwich in Austin. He did the
Really?
whole article on that. So,
Oh,
but
cool.
yeah, so it's a well unknown thing we have here.
Okay. Well, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No, no, yeah,
If I
it's
lived in
good.
Austin, I would know. Or if
Yeah,
I could actually go travel a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll try both. But corned beef is I love corned beef and pastrami but they are two different animals. They're two different
yeah.
things. Yeah. Not part from a different animal, but just two different things
Oh
completely.
yeah, completely different flavor
Yeah.
for sure.
But on your menu
Well,
too, oh, go on.
no, yeah. So just want to say, the pop ups that we do. Go into the pop ups.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. Talk about it.
So the old school pop ups we do.
Ah, those, yes.
Yes, yes. The ones you're talking about. So I always wanted to. No one was doing old school barbecue, Central Texas old school barbecue like ever. So, and I was like, it'd be pretty cool to bring that every once in a while, as a pop up. So obviously now, there's been a couple of people in town that do it too, but uh,
I know one of them.
yeah. And I always thought, well, I did it. I wanted to do it differently. I was like, well, what if you did hot and fast barbecue in modern times? I didn't want to do the whole let's go back to meat market and just do it that style. I wanted to, well, what if you trim, season everything nicely, but do the techniques and honor the tradition of it, and see what happens. So, and that's what I grew up doing, learning barbecue. So it was like, going back to how I first started barbecuing. Because, sometimes you just like, man, I miss doing that so much.
Yeah.
So I decided every pop up I did, I always tell people there's two Central Texas styles. There's South Central and North Central. Let you know. So it's you know, it's super hot and fast with less pepper, and then up north, it's super pepper and hot and fast as well.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a little different, but it's there. You can tell.
So do you do the
So
pop-ups within your restaurant then? It's like a
yeah, we usually do it at night after our lunch service.
okay.
So every pop up I do, well, this pop up hot and fast, we're gonna go to Lockhart and do the style of their style. So I kind of mimic their sausage, but with modern techniques. And then I do a hot and fast brisket with the ribs, but try to hold it better so it doesn't so it stays more, I don't know, juicy or glistening, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to bring a different, style of hot and fast to everybody to try,
That's
you know.
cool.
So, and then I went to Taylor. I did a hot and fast with super pepper. And then the most recent one, well, I guess not the most recent one. I did a homage to John Miller, and that was the best one we did. Because I thought one day I was like, well, what about the guy who started it all in Austin? You know,
I know the guy.
I mean he was the hot and fast guy here in Austin,
Yeah, yeah. That was just
and everybody forgot about him that he did that in 2006. So I was like, he deserves a pop up. So I didn't try to do his his recipes or anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know it better than me, but
yeah.
yeah. But I just wanted to make maybe not what he did when he first opened or when you worked there, but I did the cheesy squash and the sriracha slaw. So and it came out really good. It was nice. It was different.
So did you go to the trailer then when I was there?
No, I never went to the South First one
Okay.
ever. Yeah, back then in Austin, I lived on the north side of the river, so I didn't travel past the river much.
Gotcha.
Um, but I tried it when he came over to was it Sixth Street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Outside of Kelly's. Was
Yeah, I
that
think that's
when
it.
he was by Kelly's? Yeah, I think so, yeah. And he had the
Yeah,
same recipes, yeah. But the slaw was created by Leanne. It was he had
the
it
sriracha one.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was actually the cheesy squash is something that's like a John tradition
Yeah.
forever, and that's and he'd always say people are stealing it, or whatever. But like, I never saw it really on anybody's menu, and that was like he did it in the crock pot, like that was kind of his
Uh-huh.
style. But and so I think I like in my mind, I'm like, I want to when I move, I want to replicate that because that's something just to see if I can make the same. But the slaw was when I was first making it, like test when we were doing some test runs. It didn't have any chipotle, it didn't have anything in it. But then or sriracha or anything in it. So then Leanne wanted to add that little twist to make it more,
See,
robust.
yeah, I didn't know that. That's actually interesting because
Yeah.
I hear the interviews of him and he says, "I just give me credit for the sriracha slaw and the cheesy squash and leave me alone." So
Well, that's his
I just figured,
but he might have like maybe he because he left, obviously when they got rid of him, he went off and did his own thing. So he maybe
yeah,
made his version of it. And so maybe she has more of a chipotle slaw. So maybe he did
hmm
sriracha to be John because he does stuff different.
yeah. Because I was about to say I don't remember tasting too much chipotle when I tasted his. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe I tried his later on when
Well,
he changed it
when you go
completely.
or I go to La Barbecue, I think that they have the chipotle slaw.
Yeah, I tried it at the barbecue.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
is
So
that's
that's Leanne's version.
okay? That was back when you guys were on
And then the
South First.
trailer, that's one we were selling. That one.
Oh, got
Yeah.
it.
And I made
There.
it one time and then he threw it out because I added too much salt. He's like, we're gonna 86 this. And I'm like, I didn't know what 86 meant at the time. I'm like, and I'm like, oh, I felt terrible the whole day. I'm like, he was so mad at me all day. And I was like, felt like the little kid that screwed up. It was just
Mhm.
so funny. But okay. So that's cool. When did you do the John one? Was that recently?
I think I did that in August.
August. Okay, I'll go back through your stuff. Is it on, would it be on Mums or would it be on? barbecue do?
It would be on Mom's.
Okay.
We wanted to make that one a good special one because he was
That's
from
cool.
Austin, so we
Yeah, met a
wanted.
lot.
Yeah, it was people don't give him enough credit for
Mm.
he was part of the Austin barbecue scene.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he
So
was like it was when I think about when I think back about like when I came out flew out and we opened up the trailer, it was no one was doing anything quite like what he was doing. Aaron had his own thing and there's all the other places that were open prior, but he was doing his own thing and it was definitely his style and the food was good, really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he
So
do pork chops his style like with so much pepper and it was so good.
yeah. So I mean, I just decided, nobody was, giving him his due all the time, so I decided to do
Yeah,
one for him. So
that's fun. That's cool.
it was nice.
Well, I have like 10 minutes because I have to take care of my mom. I have to take her to a
Yeah,
doctor's appointment. But I want to talk about like what so when people come to mom and it's, I always want to say mums, but it's mum foods. And
yeah,
is mum because of bread or something? Is that
exactly. So the owner opened a bread venue at the farmers markets. So his passion was bread making.
Jeff's was?
Jeff
Yeah.
was, yeah. So his whole thing was sourdough breads. So
Uh,
it was the mum of sourdough, the mum
uh,
culture of sourdough. So that's why it's called mum food. It's like all the breads you can make, all the food you can make from the breads he made.
so you guys still making bread from scratch?
Yeah. So we have our sourdough rye that is, I guess is his. He makes it, so I just let him make it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's really good. But
Then you okay, go on.
no, and then it's just, I guess how Mum Food started was he says that everyone kept asking him like, you need to sell some meat with all this delicious bread so we can just buy it from you. So apparently he just made pastrami one day, brought it to the farmers market, and sold it with the bread.
Makes sense.
So that's how this whole business started.
Ah. And now you guys have, is it like a pretty full Jewish menu? Because you guys have matzo ball soup. Do you guys have any other do you guys have like Jewish desserts too and stuff?
I mean, we have our cheesecake. I don't think that's
Kind of
Jewish.
like there's like it's not
New
Jewish,
York.
but like
Yeah.
New York cheesecake and stuff like that's all
No,
Jewish people
actually,
have it.
actually, I don't think we have any Jewish desserts, but yeah, we have a full Jewish menu. We have latkes, and
Oh,
we do the chicken salad and the egg salad the traditional way. But it's mostly like a New York Jewish deli for sure.
yeah.
So I mean, he does Jewish specials all the time. So I mean, and that's what makes it fun. Like you come here and you get barbecue, and you can just get some Jewish sides you've never had before. So
Yeah. Which
it
are
you
cool.
can it's always different. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
And a lot of those things have kind of acid pops and things, and it kind of balances
Exactly.
with the richness.
Yeah.
So you can get like a pastrami sandwich on fresh bread, and then you can get some get ribs and sausage. Like you can get a whole like you can kind of do your own adventure kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I think the number one thing someone posted one time was this is the only place in America you can probably get a matzo ball soup with a pork rib, because it's not kosher to eat pork,
That's
so
funny. Yeah, that is true. But that's funny. That's cool. But it's so yeah, so you can mix and match and do whatever you want. So that's killer. That's a great. So what are your hours and what days of the week you open?
yeah, we're open Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 3. We are
11
open for breakfast at 9:30 every day.
every day.
Breakfast, yep, and breakfast is all day.
And what kind of breakfast is it?
We do breakfast sandwiches. We do barbecue hash. We just, you know, when we want to change it up, I'll cook an extra brisket and we'll cut it up and put it in hash, or we'll do corned beef one week and we'll switch it up every once in a while.
Oh,
Keep
that's
it different.
cool. So if someone was getting into barbecue now, like right now, they were thinking about it, what advice would you give them? Stay out? Don't. I'm
No,
joking. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. I wouldn't say stay out. I would definitely say, you know, do something simple, but try to do something different at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, like here, I do everything that's everyone's had before, but you can definitely tell that it's different from everybody else, from the ribs to the sausage to the brisket.
It sounds
So
like you, but it sounds like you've stayed creative or like true to yourself, where like you want to do what you personally, I knocked everything over. You want to do what you personally like. It's like almost these like you do these little games you're playing in your head, like trying to like little
yeah,
challenges. Yeah,
yeah. I think the number one thing that I do different the most is how I trim the briskets here. I don't. I probably am the most aggressive brisket trimmer in the state.
really.
I'll probably take on anybody on that one. Over the years, I thought, what if there was a golden, let's say size or measurement of trimming a brisket to where it comes out perfect and the yield is 100% every single time.
Okay.
So, I guess you have to come in to see the brisket, but I'm not going to say what it is. But you can trim a brisket the same, you know, I guess measurement or size every single time on any breed of brisket, and it'll be 100% yield, and it comes out perfect every time.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about, you know, crispy edges or anything like that, or the fatty side is overcooked before the lean is even done. So I definitely I've come to realize there is a golden measurement, I guess,
Wow.
and I believe, you know,
'Cause you're thinking about this a lot.
yeah, I because I trim briskets a lot over the years,
Yeah.
and every breed or every kind of brisket is different. So when you get tired of trying to figure out what's the best form to trim a brisket, it's like, well, what if you just make it uniform all the time? And what is the perfect length? What is the perfect width? What is the perfect fat ratio on top? Because everyone just goes with a fourth of an inch, but I'll tell you that's not the best way to trim a
That's
brisket.
so cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it changes throughout the brisket itself.
Wow. So you're enjoying yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like you're at a good spot right now, kind of where
Yeah. I am full full pedal to the metal, man. I'm going, keep learning every day. I'm experimenting every day. We have experimental rib Sunday where we just do random ribs, random sauce, random technique,
like
So
where you try it out or you sell it.
no, we don't sell it. No,
Okay, okay.
no. No, we just try
I'm
different
like, oh, that
methods.
sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Random Red Sunday.
yeah.
That's for you guys. Yes.
No, there's different methods and different stuff, different sausages we do. We just toy around with, but yeah, always try to get better every day. I
Is there a
think.
place across the United States somewhere that is making sausage that you want to try that you've seen?
Um, yeah, but see, I guess you can call me old fashioned on that. I like simple,
You like your
good,
own?
well made sausage. I know everyone just wants to make intense sausages all the time. And it sounds good and you want to try it, I'm scared that once I try it, I just want one bite.
Yeah. Or you want just one. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't until talking to you, I never thought about that part of it because I like the creativity portion of sausage. I like that
Yeah.
sausage lends itself to being creative, but there are some of them that you think, I probably just want a bite or just one, as opposed to eating three or
Yeah. And that's why I kind of force our customers here. I keep it like Lockhart. I don't slice the sausages.
Mhm.
I keep them whole. So
I
you
like
have to
that.
bite it. You have to bite it yourself, or you have to cut it yourself, or whatever. You know, you you have to enjoy the sausage experience,
I
not
have to
just
tell you, go on.
yeah, just not just have one ring of sausage and be done with it.
Mhm. So that's
So
what I have to tell people a lot. Please don't cut. I want to,
yeah,
yeah, because I like to bite into a sausage.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
like
it's
I've
and people slice their sausages to cover up the tough skin
yeah.
on the sausage. So I try my best to not be rubbery skin. So
Yeah.
that's just another challenge for me to do every day.
I love that. I love that. I love the way you think, and I love the creativity aspect and the always kind of setting goals for yourself and trying to attain them. I think that's killer.